you lick the lollipop. Go, go, girl, don't you stop. Keep going till you hit the spot. Whoa.
I'll take you to the candy shop.
Yeah.
One more taste of what I got. I'll have you spending all you got.
Come on.
Keep going till you hit the spot. Whoa.
You can have it your way.
What is up, everybody? It is Thursday, April 24th, and this is the Fantasy Insiders show. It is officially the Insiders TV Daily Fantasy MLB show, sponsored by the wonderful folks there at FantasyElite, the app that you can get in the store, the iStore, the iOS store. Apple Store? Yeah, let's just say Apple Store. For iPad and the iPod Touch, your iPhone. So we're going to be doing a lot of cool things with the show sponsorship that Grant has graciously given to the show. So it's going to be a fun show. Want to introduce some of the guys on the show. They need no introduction. The first, Mr. Tuttle05, guy that has been to a bunch of different events, live events, also a co-founder here at Fantasy Insiders. And then another guy that we have straight from New York, Michael Pineda.
What's up? I got 10 days off. Looking for some hobbies. God, it itches right here.
Can you show your neck a little more?
Is it pine tar?
What, is this what all pictures look like?
Turn your head to the side so we can see.
What? Look, I got nothing. Look.
I don't see anything.
This is legal.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so we have Napster Man on the show, aka Joel Pineda. Did I say Michael earlier?
That's his name.
That's
Yeah.
his name.
Why was I saying Joel then?
All right. I'll be a different Michael now. Oh!
Did that hurt?
All right. Who am I? All right. You already hit a dong. Here's another one.
And
Dong.
Mike Morse.
He's Mike Morse. That's who he is.
Oh yeah.
How angry were you guys at Mike Morse last night?
Oh, I was mad.
I loved it.
Why did you
Giants.
love it?
I mean, it's just awesome. Giants own that game. That was a fun game to watch.
Oh, it's because you're a Giants fan is why.
Well, the worst part is, and
I used him a little bit. Whatever.
I don't think he'll mind me saying this, but I was sweating a pretty high stakes game with Love's bases, and the guy had Michael Morse on his team.
On what site?
On FanDuel.
Yeah,
He was still cheap. Was he like 334
He was
there?
cheap, but he had done nothing in ideal matchups the game before. He was going against a right-handed pitcher. So
I mean, he hit the ball deep last game. I mean, it's not like he wasn't like king every time. It's like, I don't know. It still sucks though. I know what you mean.
yeah, brutal beat.
Yeah.
As far as tonight goes, it's just kind of a crappy slate. Do you guys is there any sort of game slate that you will not play? I guess would be the first question I would have.
Just starts before 10 a.m. West Coast.
Yeah, I think you're asking the wrong guys this.
That's about it.
Like maybe you would get an actual answer or an educational explanation if Dink was on the show or something like that. But I don't think you're going to get a serious answer from either Nap or Ryan here. I don't think there's a slate that's too ugly for either of us.
Well, that's what I wanted to know. I mean, that's why I was curious.
I will say it's an unappealing night to play like on Draft Street or starting pitching sites. It's a little less appealing on slates like these because you really have to go to the bottom of the barrel. But that can be fun at the same time. So I guess it's just however you view it.
Yeah, it just depends. We do want to let people know that you guys will be drafting against each other today on the Elite app. that is going on now. So we'll pull the results up as we kind of progress throughout the show. And there for this special draft, there's like an unlimited clock, pretty much 60 minutes per pick. So no pressure to make any picks, but just want to let people know that you guys will be drafting against each other and basically making some sort of bet.
Oh,
right?
I mean, we can.
Yeah, you have to. It's like it's like a rule, pretty much, that you have to bet something, and it has to be really embarrassing. But Nap still has to perform the single ladies.
Yeah, with Davis, right? All the singular ladies.
Nap, why haven't you done that yet?
I haven't been on with Matic yet. Like, we gotta just pick a time.
And you'll do it.
If it'll make you stop asking us, sure.
I just want you to be true to your word. I don't want people to think that you're being...
No, let's do it.
Okay.
Love that song.
All right. Well, let's start with the... I guess with the slate of games today. What kind of games stick out to you as far as pretty games, I guess I should say? What is that notebook for? No.
Crappy notes on today.
Oh, you were like putting it over your face. So I wasn't sure if you were like trying to hide something, like if you were calling a play.
Oh, I'm hiding the pine tar under here.
Yeah.
For his fantasy elite picks.
Why doesn't he put it here or his belt where it's like a navy dark surface? It's like put it in wide open on the side where all the cameras are. It's amazing.
I kind of want, I'm not going to lie, I kind of wanted Davis on here so he could have played the race card somehow. Because you knew it was going to happen.
What?
Davis and his race card. You know it would have gotten brought out somehow, some point with Michael Pineda. So I was kind of looking forward to him being on the show today, but we'll have to happen another day.
It was pretty wild. It was about the dumbest thing. I was reading an article about it being like the dumbest thing that you could possibly think of to do. So,
everyone does it, but you just can't put it on your neck.
Yeah, I mean they kind of let it go last game. You can't do it for this. You can't do it like twice in a row and be so obvious about it. Like if you read the lips of the Boston man,
said all over.
Well, yeah, that a-hole's got pine tar all over him is what he said. So yeah, you can't do that and expect to expect to get away with it. All right, as far as the weather goes, taking a look here, there doesn't look to be like too much weather with the games that are going to be played. I mean, we have 5 games tonight?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no weather, and it's basically nothing to really focus on. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
The only thing would possibly be if you're scared of the wind coming in Boston Yankees game. You might want to stay away from some of the right-handed power bats, but I don't. That'd be reading into it quite a bit.
The wind coming in?
Yeah, it looks like 16 mile per hour winds blowing in.
In Houston, 11 miles per hour blowing out, and
the roof will be open.
Yeah,
supposedly.
Isn't it in Oakland?
What's that?
No, that's in Houston.
It's in Houston.
Oh, I'm an idiot. My notes suck.
It's okay. You're Michael Morse. So you're not even Napster, man. You're Michael Morse. All right. As far as the pitchers tonight, you've got basically the heaviest favorite being in this Washington game. Curious as to your thoughts as far as pitchers tonight. I'll start with you, Dan.
Yeah, I think it's gonna end up being Zimmerman for me. He's actually a decent price, and in most places too, because of some of the struggles he's had earlier this year. But I think it's Zimmerman for me. I'm not a huge Heron fan in general, even though he's been performing well. And Kazmir's price has spiked like crazy in most places. I think he's still affordable, like on FanDuel. But DraftKings, you're looking at 12,000. Draft Street, you're over 23,000, which is just crazy for Scott Kazmir. So I don't think there's any way I can pull the trigger on that. Which is why I like Zimmerman, because he's pitching in a pitcher's park. His price is deflated, and he's going up against a weak Padres offense.
Fair enough. Nat?
Yeah, Zimmerman's my number one. I mean, his price, he's only like 13 on draft day now. He's still 10 on DK, but there's just no other clear number one to me. So it's just Zimmerman, and then deciding on probably Heron or Kazmir, and I'm probably going Heron. I like the guy on the road, or at home, sorry. Getting this Oakland thing mixed up. I like the guy at home. Philly's been struggling. And then Houston versus lefties, they're not that bad, so it scares me.
And the other guy, I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, none of the other pitchers are really even playable.
I think Overholt. Go ahead.
You think Oberholzer is possible?
He's like my sneaky cheap, if you're doing GPP, you have to be a little different tonight. So, I mean,
my guy would be Hutchison.
Yeah. He had a good outing last time versus Baltimore this year.
Well, he's a big K guy, so he's going to get you additional points through the strikeout. And I think Baltimore versus right-handed pitching is less scary than Oakland versus left-handed pitching, personally.
Okay. Yeah, it's just that over-under, though, I would rather lean Overholter.
Yeah.
That park. I mean, they're both hitters, pretty similar parks, but Toronto just seems like so many dongs.
All the dogs.
Looking at Ben's article, I think Dave Lofren did the pitcher's article. He's got Heron above Zimmerman, which is interesting. He says, save for 2 quality outings at the plate, the Phillies are averaging a measly 1.1 runs per game over their last 6 contests. Their offense has overperformed in several facets of the game thus far, but true colors are beginning to expose themselves as the season progresses. It should also be noted that Dave is from Philly, is a Phillies fan, and he did the same thing. Like, he picked on the Phillies with the Chatwood call on Friday that actually did pay off. So I'm not sure if that's reverse homerism or if he really thinks that Heron is above Zimmerman.
It's a revenge game too.
I'm saying it's reverse homerism.
Did you say revenge game, Nap?
Yeah.
Do you believe in that with pitchers?
I mean, he knows them better, so maybe. He knows a lot of their tendencies.
Okay. It doesn't surprise me. He also has Kazmir above Zimmerman. So he's got Zimmerman at number 3, which is kind of surprising. I do think for cash games, Zimmerman's going to be the play. But between Heron and Kazmir, which direction would you go?
I think I would personally end up going Heron. Zimmerman's going to be my number 1. If I'm going number 2 starting pitcher on a multi-pitcher side, it's going to be Heron because he's priced significantly less across the industry. I think I'm looking at draft day now. It looks like Heron's about $2,000 cheaper. You're looking $6,000 cheaper on Draft Street and $2,000 cheaper on DraftKings. So the pricing really would make me lean Heron over Kazmir.
I thought Heron. I was totally thinking someone else. Heron's not revenge. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, no, I was trying to. I was a little confused about that. I didn't really. I don't want to call you out.
Everyone's been on Philly.
That's what I was going to say.
Awful.
That's why I said the revenge game, because I wasn't sure.
You were like, wait, was
Revenge.
But I thought maybe it was before my time, and I didn't have time to look it up. Kazmir or Heron for you?
Too many of these.
Kazmir or Heron for you now?
It's Heron. It's interesting. They both have like their career ERA versus their opponents over 4. Like Heron's over 5. So it's like you just kind of go with the current state of the other team's offense, and I think that Philly lineup's less scary on the road than Houston at home, just versus lefties. It's close, though. Just versus the price on most sites, I think you go cheaper with the guy at home, with just Herring.
Yeah. Okay.
Kazmir actually didn't, or the Astros didn't K a ton versus Kazmir. I think he actually pitched against him
yeah,
the 19th, I think it was. He recorded 5 strikeouts, went 8 innings for a solid start. But they didn't K a ton. They actually put some decent at bats together against him. And with the way where his price is at now, I just don't think it's necessary.
All right. As far as we kind of talked about the GPP options with Overholtzen, Foxen,
Holzer,
Overholtzen,
her.
I mean, it's French, right? So. Yeah.
Oh, you're doing that again.
I think it's actually German. Yeah. Pronunciation is just going to be something that we do on every show, I'm sure. GPP play, that would be yours, Nap. Did you give one, Tuttle?
Mine would be Hutchison against the Orioles. I don't love it, but that would be, if I wanted to go really cheap with a second or third starting pitcher, it'd be Hutchison just because of the K potential.
Yeah, definitely K potential. You just have to hope that he lasts 5 or 6 innings. 6 innings would be optimal, I guess. As far as the relief option play for the day, Dave has...
He did early game.
Oh, yeah.
He did Joe Nathan, I think.
He had Joe Nathan. So
Did Nathan get the save? I know the game set up that way.
I don't know.
I think he did, yeah.
Well, then that was a good call then.
There
I
you
feel
go.
like the relief pitcher of the day has been great on the Daily Diamond articles because I've been using it with my Draft Street lineups, and it has actually done pretty well. More times than not, a 2 starting pitcher and relief pitcher has done better than my 3 starting pitcher and trying to go cheap on hitters. And I think it's because you're almost, with the way that the salaries are in Draft Street now, you're almost forced to pick a really terrible pitcher around that 10K, 11K range. So I think if you can kind of target the relief pitchers that there is going to be a close game, according to Vegas, and that they haven't pitched in a long time, I think it's definitely something you might want to use. Dan, you look like you want to say something.
I'm just laughing at Dink in chat. He said if a great call happens but it's not retweeted, did it really happen? The answer to that would be no.
All right. Moving on to hitters, and if you have any questions about any pitchers, feel free to ask them, and we'll try to get to them. I want to move on to hitters. Also, want to go ahead and get this draft started with the Fantasy Elite draft. So, Nap, you've got the first pick, and you guys just feel free to draft as we go along. If we touch on any players while we're going over the hitters, then feel free to mention them. But you have made your first pick, and it is Shane Victorino.
Boom.
So, interesting.
5K special.
Minimum salary. So we'll have
coming right off the DL.
Yeah, coming.
Oh yeah, getting pulled in 3 innings. Love it.
As far as the hitters go, we've got this Toronto-Baltimore game at a 9. And the Yankees and Boston at 8.5. We did talk about the wind blowing in. That Houston-Oakland game is at an 8, but also talked about the wind blowing out. As far as team stacks go, where would you guys want to go with that?
Toronto. Pretty much tonight's that game's just stack it as many ways as you can, I think. Unless you get some Washington bet. I like Washington stack potentially. Man, it's just maybe Dodgers. Kendrick's been awful against lefties. But they don't have too many lefties. I mean, it's Agon and Ethier and D. Gordon. What's your stack total?
My stack is who I'm picking with my first 2 picks on Fantasy Elite. So I went actually catcher first because I don't think there's a whole lot of solid catcher options. But I like Derek Norris quite a bit against Overholzer. So I'm trying to block you off on catcher there a little bit. So I went Derek Norris with my first pick, and I'm going to stay with the Oakland theme because that's going to be my stack, team to stack tonight. I'm going to go Josh Dong Olson because he's totally going yard tonight.
Really? Okay.
Who are your catchers? I like Derek Norris quite a bit. Do you think? I mean,
there's not many. Yeah, you're right.
And then that's why I made that pick because I don't think there's really a whole lot of catchers out there tonight. Who are your options other than Derek Norris?
I mean, David Ross. I don't even see. Oh, he's like 10K. David Ross. Versus lefties always in play. I think Castro's not to be faded just because it's a lefty. I mean, Jason Castro. It's like he's in the 3-hole. This year it's weird. Casimir's he's 263. Lefties are hitting 263 off him, and righties are hitting 152. And it's like his careers. Lefties are worse, but it's like with not many options, you just kind of it's either Norris or Castro. I'm on elite. Like I don't think they have Navarro available. Like Navarro, the two catchers in the Baltimore Toronto for like DFS, I think are the top two options. But for elite, I mean, man,
I still say Norris in general for
over those all four.
Over all four in just general DFS terms. I think Norris. I know Ben wrote him up too, but I like the spot that he sets up, and I know both catchers in the Blue Jays game are kind of on the wrong end of the platoons, at least in terms of what hand they're. I mean, both are switch hitters, and they're both going to be hitting from their weak side to start. If you look at Navarro, it's actually Navarro's pretty much useless against right-handed pitching. I looked up. I'm trying to scroll here and find it. He's got a .288 WOBA versus right-handed pitching and a .099 ISO. So he's actually more or less useless against right-handed pitching.
Okay.
Which means he's going to go off tonight against
He's going to double down.
Which he's going to hit for power randomly, but he just hasn't in his career.
I don't mind Norris. Just that it scares me if like the pinch hitting.
Well, he will. Yeah, he will get pinch hit for him.
Yeah.
So basically, you're looking for 3 at bats from him, hoping to produce in those 3 at bats.
Other catchers that you guys like really anywhere else other than what you just talked about? Or, I mean, with the limited number of games, catcher is basically 1 or 2 options.
I think Ross is an option like Nat touched on briefly. He's down there batting 8th. I don't know. I haven't looked industry-wide to see his price, but I don't think there's a big enough gap between Derek Norris and David Ross price-wise where I would find myself on Ross. But I think he's certainly an option.
I mean, Grandal's hitting cleanup if you want to go against the most obvious pitcher. That could be huge.
Yeah. Second base and shortstop. So the way that we're going to kind of structure these shows is we're going to do the crappy plays first with catcher, second base, and shortstop, the middles. And then we're going to touch on the corners and then the outfielders. So, because I feel like we've, people that have been tuning in long enough know that we talk about punting the catcher, shortstop, and second base position all the time. So maybe we'll call it like the puntables. I don't know. We're going to have to come up with a better name. So as far as the second base position, what are you looking at, Nap?
Second base. On some sites he's available. I like Rendon hitting second against Stoltz. And then it's like it's tough. Goins homered last night. He's so cheap, but it's like that's probably his only homer of the year. And then Altuve and Pedroia, both leading off versus lefties. One should have a good game. So I mean, it's just tough to decide which one. They're both getting up there in price. I probably lean Pedroia. He's been pretty hot lately. Total.
Yeah, I like Pedroia. Pedroia was my number 1 option. I like him quite a bit. A couple guys you didn't mention. I think if I'm spending, there's not very many options to spend on, but I actually think Utley versus Heron's decent. If you're not going to run Heron out as one of your pitchers, I think that's a decent matchup for Utley. And then another guy I like that I think is going to be owned. You guys already know my stance on Kazmir tonight. I think you can take some of these Astros hitters. I think they're rosterable. So I think Altuve, like on FanDuel, he's 2,700, which is pretty cheap.
Wow. Okay.
So I think like Altuve, you could even do a mini Astro stack, or do 2 or 3 guys from the Astros, and I think there's some value to be had there.
Interesting. What about the shortstop position?
I'll let Nat take this one.
I mean, my top option, let me just open that. I think it has to be, come on. It's between Hanley and Reyes for me right now. Reyes, they're almost the same price on draft day. DraftKings is pretty significant difference. I think it's like 700, 800 difference. Man, I like Reyes. Homered last night. He's going to steal against the righty pretty often if he gets on. Yeah, it's just I'm not looking at much else. Like Hardy, I almost never play Hardy. He's a dong or just an 0 for 5 guy. He did almost hit one yesterday at the warning track, but I'm looking at those top 2. Spend on shortstop today, I think.
Yeah, I like Reyes quite a bit.
Yeah.
We have a question going back to second base too. Espinoza versus a lefty. He's obviously quite a bit better hitter against lefties, but I still don't like. If I'm playing on FanDuel, I don't know where this question's specific to, but if I'm playing on FanDuel, I'd rather take Altuve for 100 more than someone like Espinoza. But that's just me. But anyways, going back to shortstop, Reyes, I think is my number one. I'm going to be the dead horse here, sticking with the Oakland theme. I do like Lowry quite a bit. But then some cheap options. You can find cheap options in that Red Sox game. So I don't have a problem with Jeter or Bogarts in that game. So I think if I'm taking one over the other, I'd take Jeter just because he's batting second. He's guaranteed, or the Yankees are guaranteed 9 at-bats or 9 innings to hit, whereas the Red Sox aren't. So I'd slightly lean Jeter over Bogarts, but I think if you want to go that way, I think they're both definitely playable.
Very nice. And there, Ruck Daddy in the chat. We need to get Ruck Daddy on a few of these drafts. He is like the draft master when it comes to MLB. That's how I knew him, as the high-stakes guy in Draft Street. So good to see him in the chat. But as far as Jeter, the numbers got 81, saying that Jeter versus lefty is a nice, and it's kind of what you were talking about. I love that when we're drafting, we get to see.
We just heads down, yeah.
top of our heads.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Did you go yet? You like all Oakland.
Yeah, I know. Just chill. I'm going. You guys can continue on. I'm doing my research here.
We have plenty of time though to draft, so don't feel like you have to. But with catcher, shortstop, and second base out of the way, it's now time for. Wait, that was not it.
I knew it wasn't going to work. I had to do it myself.
I don't know what's wrong, but
Nat made the voice, or made the sound.
I can just do it.
Yeah, it's definitely not working right now. So
there you go.
Oh, that was rough. We have the Napster Man's Kung Fu match, or whatever you want to call it now. What's the official name
Challenge. Kung Fu game.
Kung Fu game.
Contest.
Okay. All right. So winner gets a T-shirt. What is the basic contest? Like, is it you've had a perfect night before? You've had, what was the other one? Like
Homer and a stolen base.
Homer stolen base. What's tonight?
So tonight is pretty weird. It's like you have to pick a guy who's gonna have 3/4 of a cycle, exactly 3/4. So if some guy hits a cycle, another guy hits 3/4. The guy who hits 3/4 is gonna win. I don't think it was hit a cycle tonight, but so yeah. Tweet me at Napsterman. Put in hashtag InsidersTV. One guess or first come first serve. If you see your guess taken, pick again. Tiebreaker will be most total bases. So like a triple double single will be or a homer double single will be triple double single. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. You are the king of creativity when it comes to that stuff. So basically, the reverse tricycle tonight. You want to get
The tricycle. I like that.
well, you can't really call it a tricycle. That's why I said reverse tricycle. Because tricycle would mean you get 3 cycles. So
That'd be sick.
that would be a record.
The
20
greatest
innings.
performance of all time.
That would definitely be a record for sure. Okay, well, make sure you're including the hashtag InsidersTV and tweet to Nap, and we will see who gets 3. What if a bunch of people get 2 hits? Does that mean that
Yeah, what?
is just total bases? I have a feeling like
Yeah, what's the tiebreaker?
I said total bases.
like,
Total
but
bases.
if they don't get 3 hits, is the tiebreaker more hits?
How can you not have
can you-
3 hits and have 3/4 of a cycle? Say it again.
It's total bases. End of story. All right.
Okay.
move on.
I'm not sure. How can you not have 3 hits if you're to qualify?
Well, I'm just saying, what if all the guesses don't have 3 hits? What if you get 2 hits max?
Oh, okay. Then we'll say Dong first tiebreaker, and then total bases, or just total bases for any tiebreaker.
More
That's
ribbies. That's what Rook Daddy said. That might
Nah.
be the way to go. But,
Okay, that can be the second tiebreaker. Total bases, then RBIs.
Okay. There you go. Let's touch on the corners. I know that you guys like to do that. Nap, as far as first base, who do you like tonight?
Top option, I think it's Crush. He's still underpriced. I think he has 11 on draft day, 46 on DK. It's like between him and Encarnacion, they're pretty similarly priced on most sites. I'm going Crush. He gets streaky, and he looked good yesterday. He crushed, like, his homer wasn't cheap. It was second deck, dead center. And then looking at Aegon, I really like him against Kendrick. Over 370 versus lefties this year. He pinch hit. He had a deep ball yesterday. So I think he's gonna, one of those two I think is gonna dong.
Yeah, he was your second pick in the draft.
Yeah.
As far as Crush, yeah, he crushed it. Ben kind of called it yesterday. When we asked for the home run of the day, he said he didn't want to say Chris Davis because it seemed too obvious. Miggy or Chris Davis. So he sort of called it, but not really, or else you would have seen some sort of retweet. But, yeah, I think he's a good play. Dan, as far as first base, where are you tonight?
Yeah, I think you're probably spending on first base. If you're looking at FanDuel and you're looking for a cheap option, there's 2 guys that I think are playable. One, if you're going extremely dirt cheap, you go with Juan Francisco. Looks like he's back in the lineup, batting 6 today, DHing. I think he's a viable option. And then the other cheap option that I think is playable tonight, if I wasn't as worried about the wind coming in from left field, I think Teixeira's could be a viable option. He's a little better against righties than he is, or a little better against lefties, I should say, than he is against righties. He's got a higher WOBA, but not quite as much power against left-handed pitching. But he's got a .397 career WOBA against left-handers. So I think he could set up for a decent spot tonight against Dubront.
Okay. Nap, third base, where are you at?
Man, hold on. Right now I have Lowry on a lot of teams.
How do you say his name?
I say Lowry.
Lowry?
Is it Lowry? I'm sure he's found both.
Lowry.
We'll get mad. Lowry?
Lowry. It's Lowry and Lowry.
Jed Lowry and Brett Lowry.
Yeah, like the
That's
law.
annoying.
Would you
What?
agree with
Law-
that? Well, I can't ask Tuttle
Yeah.
because he calls Dave a Lofi, so I'm not gonna get a
Dude,
reaction.
who knows how the heck to pronounce his name?
I know.
I'll say it like 20
I
different
mean-
ways and it won't be right.
So yeah, Donaldson's probably going to be most popular.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Lowry in that park and the way he dongs back-to-back games. Bud Norris is like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this year 344 righties are hitting off him, and career lefties are better, but man, it's almost 130 points higher so far this year. Righties are just, I don't know if it changed or just. I like Lowry's spot. And then Rendon's eligible in some places. I still like him. He's really cheap on draft day. And then super cheap, Matt Dominguez. He's streaky too, and I think he dongs more against righties, but he's 76 draft days, 25 DraftKings. I think he's a great kind of contrarian, not contrarian, but like he won't be nearly high as owned as Donaldson or Lowry or Juan Francisco.
He can only hit the ball hard against King Felix, though.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
yesterday.
Dominguez can. But yeah, I think I agree with Nap as far as Donaldson being clearly the number one owned. I think he's going to be the top option, and I do think that's the way to go. I think you have to pay up for third base. Nat mentioned Rendon is eligible as third base. I know Ben likes him quite a bit. I can see it where he's batting and going up against a lefty. Then you have. It wouldn't. I don't know if it would make sense to go Francisco over Lowry on like on DraftKings. I think there's only a $100 difference there, but that is an option where Francisco is third base eligible. It sets up as a decent matchup for him.
You can play both of them. I mean,
Yeah,
you don't want to
go
fade
first
one. Yeah.
and third. I mean that's actually a pretty decent option if you are going like. For those of you who do want to play Kazmir, who's 12K, if you want to go Kazmir and Zimmerman and you're trying to save, I don't think that's a bad way to go.
Yeah.
You're just recapping what you guys have done. Nap, you're going with Victorino and
Oh yeah, it's my pick. Or
you're
Yeah.
going with Victorino, Agon, Heron in the utility pitcher spot, and then Puig. And Tuttle, you're going with Norris, Donaldson, Cespedes, and Ramirez. Tell people kind of how it works as far as the format where the pitchers are concerned with drafting them. Have you been playing a lot with since they introduced the pitchers, Nap?
I've been playing with it, like the strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you have first pick and there's like a slam dunk, you take him at any price. I think like yesterday it was Waka and Greinke, so I kind of just waited on one of them. I knew most people were taking Waka first, so you just get Greinke on that second round or coming back. But I think the way it's scoring, it's pretty huge. If you can, I think you do need to take pitchers, like unless they're just awful matchups everywhere. Like, I mean, Tyson Ross was -6, so I mean, it's not always a slam dunk, but like, I think Heron and Kashmir, you got to get one of them today. I don't think it's Washington's on.
That's sweet of you giving advice to Tuttle, letting him know what he needs to do.
I mean, Kashmir's sitting there. I could probably take him now. I'll take him now.
Yeah, and
That's fine. I didn't want him. I don't care.
Guaranteed. I mean, I don't like him, but it's just guaranteed positive. I think today, hopefully.
I like
dang!
You actually stole Puig for me too. Do you like Puig tonight, or is that just a elite play?
He's 83 on elite. That's that's a great salary helper, but he's not in too many lineups. I mean, I think he's over 44 on DK. I don't know. He's so weird. I don't like sweating him. I don't know. He just Ks a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, he's tough, especially like on Draft Street when those strikeouts count against you.
I actually went Puig last night on DraftKings because he's down. I don't know if he's still down that far, but he was around 37 or 3,800 last night on DraftKings. It looks like he's back up to 42. But he got me a triple last night. Got on base a couple times, so it worked out for me there. But he's a player to keep your eye on if his price does get deflated, like today on Elite where he's around 8,000, or DraftKings where he's 37, 3,800. He's one of those guys that can break out of a slump in a monster way. So if his price gets deflated, he's definitely a guy you want to target, like Knapp did.
Cool.
Get those nerds!
That brings us to the stat of the day. Do either of you have an interesting stat that you would like to share? Knapp, I know you probably were too busy putting on the makeup for
my Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Oh man, stat of the day. It's just I think it's kind of interesting that like a lot of pitchers they just have bad career ERAs against the team they're facing. Like Kendrick's set almost 7, Herron's 5, Cashmer's over 4. It's like that's why Zimmerman just stands out like at home for San Diego. I mean, that's I don't really have like nothing really jumps out like big stats of the day. Like on BB, there's some obvious BVP plays if you're into that, and I don't know. Dan's probably got a much better one.
I don't really. The biggest thing that came to a surprise to me as I was looking through, other than Navarro being completely useless against right-handed bats, the thing that I came and a big reason why I like the Oakland bats today was looking at Oberholzer a little closer. He's a fly ball pitcher. He only gets about 35% of his outs via ground ball, and he's not a huge K guy. And so far this year, he's got a home run to fly ball rate of 3.2%, which is just absolutely ridiculous and not even anywhere close to being sustainable. So one of the reasons why I like the Oakland bats is because that's certainly going to regress at some point in time. It's obviously hard to predict when it will regress, and it can regress over time. But I think it sets up for a lot of the Oakland power bats with the wind blowing out in Houston. And I think you'll see. My guess is I'm predicting 3+ dongs out of Oakland tonight.
Wow.
Interesting. We'll get to the guaranteed dong of the night, which I'm sure will have one of your Oakland players in it. As you just draft Soriano? No, you just drafted Teixeira.
I did Teixeira and Soriano. Or
no,
Beltran.
I got
Beltran.
Yeah.
I'm getting back in. I knew it was a Yankee dude.
All right, outfielders. You talked about Puig. Other outfielders that you guys like tonight. Tuttle, you've got Cespedes and Beltran. And Knapp, you've got Victorino coming off the DL. That might just be an elite play because he's minimum salary.
Yeah.
And Puig and then Soriano that we just talked about. So outfielders that you like other than that, Knapp?
My top 2, they're kind of expensive, but Melky and Worth. I'm looking at them really like a lot, especially on drafted. They're both under 10,000. That's almost must play like the matchups. Melky's just sick hot right now. Like every day it seems like at least like 10 on DK, 15 on draft day, and he's got double dong steal potential. It's just he's a great fantasy play. Like if you can fit him in DraftKings, he's the most expensive. It's like that's the one say where I'm not getting him in probably. But Worth at 40, I think he's 42 or 4. I really like him against Stoltz.
Tuttle?
Yeah, I have Worth listed. I know Ben does too in his article today. I mean, Worth's basically just a lefty crusher. So anytime he's going to face a left-handed pitcher, he's certainly in play. I had Melky listed as in my top 5 as well. And then, not to beat a dead horse with the Yankees, we drafted them. We like those guys. But I do like, and I'm going back to the well. The last show I was on, I called for a George Springer breakout game. I'm going back to the well. Round 2, it's happening tonight. George Springer breakout game. I'll use this as a segment into the dong of the day. George Springer, dong of the day.
Wow.
Interesting. Last time you called Springer, you're right. He was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. So you can't be any worse than the Springer breakout game. I think my direct quote in our little Skype chat was that Springer breakout game will just have to wait. So you're saying it's going to happen tonight. With the wind, I like it. I like it being, kind of a non-chalk play. Dong of the day for you, Nap.
There's a lot of options.
That sound effect you just made. After
I can't. It's tough to pick one dong. There's so many dongs. Oh, man. Guaranteed dong. Nelson Cruz. He's too hot.
Oh, gosh. No, it pains me because yesterday I was like trying to make a lineup and Cruz was that last missing piece. And I was like, I don't want Nelson Cruz as my last outfielder on FanDuel. So I rearranged everything.
You took Reyes out then too, right?
What? Yeah, and then that took Reyes out as well. So it was like, it just wasn't my night at all. So yeah, I went to bed early on that one. All right, lightning round of questions. If you have any questions, I know it's a short slate of games. Feel free to ask them, and we'll get to them. And then we're also going to do I'm going to regret this segment, which is basically someone who you're going to fade. Again, a short slate, so the options aren't really that much. But anybody that you're going to regret possibly fading, Nap.
Donaldson.
Okay.
He's gonna be the most popular, so yeah, I'm fading him everywhere probably. I just can't fit him in. I don't know.
Interesting. And Tuttle, you drafted him, so I mean, you have to hope that pays off for you.
Yeah, for sure. And then my guy that I'm gonna regret fading because I'm drunk with Oakland love. I'm gonna regret fading Jose Reyes.
Oh.
I think. I really think Lowry and Reyes are interchangeable today, and you kind of just pick based on price or lineup or how you're constructing your lineup. But with that said, I have a bad feeling that Reyes is just going to go off now.
Let's talk about Napoli too. I mean, he's definitely in the play, I think.
Yeah, that was a question. We'll go ahead and get to it since I don't think we're going to have enough questions for a lightning round. It would be the shortest lightning round ever. But Napoli, yay or nay? Nap.
Not talking about Napoli.
Napoli.
Man, I mean, if you really love him, I don't mind. It's just he's 11 on draft day, and I'd rather have Agon. I'd rather have Crush. That's cheaper and the same price. I mean, sure he can have as big a game as them, but it's just the CC's not like guaranteed to just suck. Like he can always have a huge game, and I'd rather have guys going against Hutchinson or Kendrick, and it's definitely a good GPP play. He won't be popular, but cash game, I'm not looking at him.
Yeah. Tuttle, your thoughts on Napoli?
I like it.
Okay.
I definitely can dig it, and I just selected him in the draft. He's actually a pretty decent price on Elite, where he's 11,831. But yeah, I mean he. Let me go back up to my rankings. I have him ranked I actually have him ranked number 2. So I like him. I think I'd rather take Chris Davis. But I can see the Napoli play, especially if you're wanting to go, if you want to stack him and Pedroia together, or Napoli and Bogarts or Gomes. If it's a lineup construction thing, I definitely don't have a problem with it, even though that wind does scare me a little bit coming in from left field.
Cruz and Reyes or Crush and Jeter is a good question. Which side are you on, Nap?
Cruz Reyes, big time.
Okay. Dan, agree, disagree?
I think I'd go the other way.
Yeah, because you wanted Crush as your guy.
I mean,
yeah, I think it's Nap puts more into streaks or hitting the ball, seeing the ball well than I would, and I think that's completely fine. That's a perfect way to evaluate. I'm more of looking at handedness and matchups that way. And looking at the platoon splits, I think it favors the second. So I would go Crush against a righty Jeter, who numbers guy already pointed out in chat that crushes lefties. So that's the way I would go.
I just agree on the numbers thing, but like, if you want, like, which combo could have 4 homers? Like, Jeter's like, he might have a couple singles, RBIs, you know.
I think Reyes' homer was a fluke last night. Though. You're not going to see a homer numbers out of him.
Boy.
I mean, he's more likely to homer than Jeter. I'll just say that. I mean, they're not.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I can give you that.
Okay. And he's more likely to triple. He's more likely to steal. It's like, which guys do you want for upside? It's like, and Cruz and Crush, they're pretty similar, like dong potential, whatever.
We had a couple of questions. Renee said I had to leave for a minute. Do you guys like any New York outfielders? Question mark Beltran, yeah, or Beltran. But you can see that there is plenty of love for the New York outfielders. And another question, our buddy Randall N says, starting pitchers on DraftKings, not Heron, Zim, or Kazmir in play at all. You've mentioned the GPP play of Hutchison, and he is, I think, 6K over there on DraftKings. So would you stick with that?
I could see it as a possible cash game play even. Wow. I mean, it's definitely risky, but based on how you're wanting to construct your lineup, if you think the right play is to get bigger bets in your lineup and to spend on bets, it's going to be scary, but I don't necessarily have a problem throwing it in a cash game lineup as well.
Renee trying to troll me. All right, real quick, Pedroia or Utley?
Salary doesn't matter.
Sure.
I got to go Utley if salary doesn't matter.
I'll go Pedroia.
We also had Zimmerman, or no, Jeter or Reyes. I guess salary doesn't matter there either.
In that spot, I'm always taking the guy that has way more stat upside. Like,
yeah. So you're
taking Reyes.
I think Reyes is the side if it's not coming in a pair. I think Reyes over Jeter.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, I think that will do it for the questions. The regret this segment. We want to kind of go over what the draft is looking like, and it is looking like almost you got Tuttle's got 1 pick, and Knapp's got 2 picks left, but looks like Knapp is kind of all spread out, heavy on the LA bats, and then New York, a few Bostons, and 1 Oakland pitcher. He took 2 pitchers with Kazmir and Heron. And then no pitchers from Mr. Tuttle tonight. So
hey, I haven't made my last selection yet.
Oh, okay.
But
Nap,
I can't because
Nap, are you going to draft?
Spots left.
I'm trying to figure out what I do if I take Castro. It's like I got a weird number left.
While you're doing that, we'll just go right over to the Fantasy Elite Basketball Championship leaderboard, and you can access it by going to fantasyelite.com/leaderboard. But you see, there are quite a bit of people that we know. TFB, that is TF Bologna, and first
looks like
place.
He's in chat.
Yeah, Trap all day, NJ even, and the top 4 are going to be entered into the championship when it comes to the finals. So that's going to be really fun. And then in the winning side, you've got Two Gun, who is just kind of just beasting over there. Daily Crusher, CSU Ram, and Double Oreo. I'm guessing that's what his name means, is Double Oreo, right? It's got 2 zeros and then 2 zeros.
Or he just wanted to be on top of the FanDuel lobby.
That's how it used to be. I don't think it is how it is now, though. Right?
Double stuffed Oreo.
Double stuffed or maybe?
Ooh.
Ooh. Sexy.
That could
That's a
be
good
it.
name.
Also, you got let's see, Kyle Cannon in there.
He's
In the
beast in
wins
FI.
leaders.
Or the league, he's got games up all day.
Yep.
And I just finished off the Elite Draft with my dong of the day, so I'm a happy man.
Matt Kemp is not in the lineup. I almost took him.
The good thing about the Elite Draft is that you can actually do a late swap for people that are not in the lineup. But I'm going to be paying special attention to this draft because you took 2 pitchers. And pitchers do get penalized for home runs pretty significantly, so you don't want them to give up any home runs. But Nap, you took 2 pitchers, and Mr. Tuttle, you took none. So
Yeah, when Springer hits their double dongs off of Kazmir, I'm going to be pretty happy tonight, I think.
yeah, but again, this not only does the game have no overlap, it also presents many strategies like Tuttle, you blocking catcher off, Nap, you blocking pitchers off, and then Tuttle, you not going with pitchers. So it's going to be fun to see as this progresses, and I'm sure there's going to be more strategies that present themselves as we kind of go along. Want to thank Fantasy Elite for being a sponsor. Again, if you are not in there, make sure that you get an iPad, iPhone, iPod Touch, and get in there. I know, Nap, you are very happy with finally getting your iPad. Do you think the iPad has been worth it?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you have $3K to deposit, do it. I'm not sure what the rules are in cashing it out, but I mean, you can play $5, $10 games a day, and
Yeah,
it's just awesome. Like,
yeah, we definitely don't want to encourage
this thing
cashing out.
it's really cool. Like, you can do a lot on this thing. You just need Wi-Fi, and you get the MLB package. It's basically you're set for baseball.
Oh yeah, I think that it's just convenient. A lot of times, like when you're on the couch, or it's a second viewing device. So I think we'll see more and more daily fantasy stuff kind of come on as far as the apps and stuff, and mobile responsive sites, that sort of thing. So good stuff there. And tune in tomorrow. We will have potentially Mr. Tuttle back on with us tomorrow. And I will be on the show tomorrow as well. And Dave will be on the show. And we're going to have Derek Carty on the show. So 2 of the regulars, and Davis and Mike, will not be there. Mike did not give an excuse. I'm guessing it's going to be because he is getting an appointment for his car to be repaired. Because that's what typically tends to be his excuse. But yeah, good stuff. Closing thoughts from either of you?
George Springer.
Stack Toronto, Baltimore.
I was going to start like a Springer chant, but then I realized it would just be...
The chat might break out in a fight.
Yeah, but it's actually Jerry and not like Springer. Like no one says Springer. It's Jerry.
Touche.
So
Maury was better anyways.
Yeah, you could say Jorge if you wanted to, I guess.
I think Guzman's gonna better night than Springer. How about that?
Dude, Jesus walks, and Jesus is a solid pick tonight.
That should have been the
walk-off song.
That should have been the walk-off song. Oh
Ooh.
well. We'll go with
You can do
this.
Boy
All right,
George.
give me a walk-out song to ball to.
All right, here you go.
Let's make one this time.
Oh,
Oh, they all look like they're going in, but they're not.
all right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. By that time, hopefully Tuttle will have hit a shot.
Take a basket. Just dunk one.
I just push her legs back till she propped up, tongue
Wow.
high notes like an opera, and I don't waste a drop till I taste the spot. Give you chills, but I make it hot. Watch, I'ma prove in time. I'ma make it lose.
Oh!
So close. Just can you make one so we can go off the show without breaking anything? Yes!
and cream mine, where's my
Nice!
Come
Oh,
on.
look.
Oh, you should have left it on the make. We gotta close it now.
Now he's never gonna get close again.
No.
Yep.
Later, everybody.
See ya.